you want to start a fish room, or maybe you're interested in getting some fish. It's not that expensive, and you just need to know a few things. Let me explain some stuff to you. This is my fish room. Most of these tanks are secondhand tanks. I built some stands for them. Not very hard. You can also go for the $1 per gallon or sale at the Petco's. That's where I got most of these 20-gallon tanks. You can even build your own sump tanks, your own racks to hold your tanks, and it's not very expensive. And of course, I do have a video on the one pump that runs all my air lines and my sponge filters, and that's not very expensive. Here we are at some aquariums that I just got for free. There's a lot of people that were in the hobby and now got out of it. So you can definitely get some secondhand stuff for free or very inexpensive. What do you really need to start with? Basically a sponge filter, a heater, a light, some substrate, which this tank doesn't have, but that's your sandy bottom or gravel. Maybe some decor. This is just my grow out tank and quarantine tank. We've got a ropefish, a ghost knife that's looking for food, and we've got a needle nose gar. Your sponge filter you can get on Amazon for under 10 bucks. Heater, depending on the size of your tank, how many gallons it is, you can get those for 10 to 20 bucks. This is a 20-gallon tank. You can buy pool filter substrate, such as this, at Lowe's or any place like that, Home Depot. You can get a 50-pound bag for 10 bucks. Or maybe you want some black substrate. Say hi to my little baby fry, convict fry. You can pick a 50-pound bag of this up too for 10 to 20 bucks. Please see the links up here for how to prepare the substrate and where to buy it, or check the description below. And there's also a lot of DIY videos of how to build the stands. That's probably in my work to do again, because most of the time when you get secondhand tanks, they don't come with stands. I've had to build these two. I've had to build the racks. This tank came with a stand. I'm gonna sand it down and paint it. But most of the time you just get the tank. Here's some food for thought too. Instead of just having a sponge filter, you can get a hang on the back filter, commonly known as HOB. This one I would suggest because it's fairly inexpensive and easy to clean. You got your cartridges that you just fill it up with your media. You just take that out, clean or replace the filter pads, and replace the media with fresh activated carbon ammonia remover. These do a pretty good job. You got the bio wheels right there. You also have your canister hang on the back filter, which is a pain in the butt to clean, frankly. So I would suggest the first one I showed you. But just to give you options, depending on your aquarium size, you can get bigger the canister you need. Or you can build your own sump tank. I can see I've got to clean this one, but this is for the more advanced person. You've got to PVC it, and definitely got to be aware of power goes out or any leakage. You got to know how to pipe it, but that's for the advanced. As you can see, that's the inlet for it, and there's the outlet after it's been cleaned with my fishies. You can build them for pretty cheap, honestly. Say hi to my mini dove or gromods saive cichlid. Now, if you don't have a big air pump, because you're not going to have a fish room, if you just want air pump for your sponge filter for one tank, there you go. You can pick one of these up for 10 to 20 bucks, just depending on the size tank you're putting it with. And that will air up your sponge filter. Okay, to sum it up, getting into the aquarium hobby is not that expensive as you think. You just need a few items. You need filtration, you need a heater, you need a light, you need the aquarium. The aquarium can be a second-hand aquarium. Just make sure that the silicone seam is still good. And you could even go the dollar per gallon route at Petco. You could pick up the 20 gallons for 20 bucks, the 55 gallons for $55. And then do your filtration accordingly and your heater size accordingly. As far as substrate, you can go bare bottom, like I showed you in the video. You could go black sand, you could go white sand, you could go gravel, and you can get that sand for pretty inexpensive. A 50-pound bag, depending on your aquarium, is going to spread a long way. Main thing when you start the aquarium, if you don't have a used sponge filter already to get the cycle boosted, then you're going to want to let that water cycle for probably a good month, and definitely treat it with prime. And they do have beneficial bacteria that you can boost it with. I'll leave all the descriptions below. You definitely don't want to add fish to this aquarium until you know the water is good. You might even want to invest in some test strips for sure. Test your water, make sure it's good before you drop some fish in there. So whether you're just getting into the hobby and want one tank, or you've been in the hobby and want to have a fish room, it really is not that expensive. You could get one big pump to pump all your filters, your sponge filters. And for your bigger tanks, I would suggest you build a sump, or definitely get a hang on the back of some sort to help flow, get the water going nice and clean and ammonia free to an extent. So if we use a 20-gallon tank for an example, let me show you the cost breakdown. Was that maybe $60 total without the stand, but you can build that, or you can put it on a table. Appreciate you watching. This is Mike with AFE Fish Family. Ow.